Hey everybody, Dr. Slavic here, but you can call me M, and I'm welcoming you back to the second episode of Spyro the Dragon Reignited. Last episode, we tackled the Artisan's homeworld, covered the basics of Spyro the Dragon, and then we moved on to Stone Hill, beat up a bunch of yams and some, what would you call them? Shepherds. As well as tracked down 3 of the hardest to find gems I've ever experienced in the first level of a game. This episode, we're heading into one of my favorite levels thematically and aesthetically, Dark Hollow, that I have a lot of nostalgia for, so I'm excited. So let's dive in. Little diving joke for the intellectuals out there. So as you can see, Spyro's got up, down, left, right, roll, roll, and that's the one I didn't show yet. Also, he can fly. Look at that. This is enriching gameplay. I'd have a whole game just like this. That's not true. But I am going to be quiet as we fly into Dark Hollow so you can hear the music.
Oh, it's you. I wasn't sure if you'd escape those annoying little creatures. Of course they wouldn't bother me, but here's a hint. Their metal armor is fireproof, but a charge attack will take care of them.
Dark Hollow is one of my favorite level themes in any game. I love it both in the original and the Reignited. It's one of the few songs that I think is equal between the two. It's just so aesthetic of a song, and I have so much nostalgia for it. And this level is breathtaking. This is completely different from a visual standpoint than the original Dark Hollow was. You have this giant bookcase there. There's these huge light domes. It's so whimsical. And Spyro 1 is supposed to be a very whimsical game. And I think that Dark Hollow is the first time when you play through the Reignited or through the original, the first point that you're going to feel that sense of whimsy that comes much harder on later in the game. As our friend there was telling us, oops, oh well, these guys have shields. Shields are fireproof if they're made of metal. All metal in Spyro is fireproof. What you can do is ram into them. Normally when you come up here, you'll already have figured out how to beat the enemies down there, because there are some down there, but I thought, for the sake of once in my life, I was going to listen to the advice before I started going through with it. Now, on the flip side, you cannot charge the big guys. There's a Nork warrior. I happen to know that name for a very nerdy reason that I won't disclose right now. He's got a big ol' like a dragon, I guess. But when you flame them, they fall and die. So, Spyro's 2 attacks are strategic. The other thing is, a lot of the metal enemies, I will pull out back a sword, you don't have to charge a lot of the metal enemies unless they're fully coated, because they'll often have animation periods where you can still flame them. I don't know why they made it like that. It's not very hard to charge them, and you're likely to charge through most enemies anyways, because charging is just a really fun way to get around. One thing I want to note about the music is that the frog fodder here adds so much to it, and it does in the original too. The frogs croaking to this really whimsical backbeat is just, chef's kiss. I love it. I love this level so much. This is what I was excited for when this game got remade. So this is the lockbox that I was showing earlier, but we don't have a key now, so I can show that, yeah, we can't get in. Spyro can't lockpick, he doesn't have any thumbs, so we're gonna keep going. And this bookcase is nothing in the original. There are no bookcases. This is stuff that they chose to add, and it's amazing. Here we have a branching path. This way is the way forward, so naturally, we're gonna hop down these stairs. and be introduced to our first challenge enemy. I really like this about this game. Dark Hollow introduces the concept that enemies have certain weaknesses and certain resistances. Sometimes they're immune to charging, sometimes they're immune to fire. And in the same level they introduce that to you, they introduce an enemy that is both. And I think that's really fun. I made a comment how when I was young I used to call these Oprahs. I don't really know why I called them that. And now that I'm older it seems like it's in bad taste, but for the sake of continuity, I say goodbye to these two Oprahs, the only two in the game. And look at this this is a cave. I'm like 99% sure in the original. And it's just bookshelves and bookshelves. This is like a big outdoor library. Well, obviously this is indoor. It's such a cool concept for a world, and it's just beautiful to look at. This is why I was so excited for this game to come out. Not just because Spyro the Dragon is one of my favorite games, but because of locations like this that you don't see in games. It's a combination of like colorful whimsical platformer, but you're going from these bright green hills of the Artisans and Stone Hill into not only an area that's got this dark, almost spooky aesthetic to it, but also is the first one where you really have danger. The rams and the shepherds aren't likely to hurt you in Stone Hill because you can defeat them any way you want. But here you have enemies that are going to resist your main attacks if you don't know what you're doing.
Spyro, want to know a secret? Use the action button when you want to zoom in and look around.
Oh, your secret's safe with me.
I do want to say that secret was not any use in finding those goddamn gems in the last episode. Also, one area that I tend to miss gems a lot is in between these platforms. I think I got them, so we're good. We got a key now, so we can head back to that lockbox up these stairs. Yeah, I cannot say enough good about Dark Hollow. One of my favorite early game platformer levels. It's just, I think it's brilliant. I think it's beautiful. I wouldn't play a whole game based entirely in an area like this. Also, I don't believe you had control of the camera when you were opening lockboxes in the original trilogy. So that's an interesting choice that they changed. As you can see, I have 10 lives. Wait, no, I have 8 lives now. Which is because of having to kill so many fodder while I was trying to find the, I don't know what you'd call them, gems in the last episode. There's actually a specific Spyro game that, yeah, that checks out. So as you can see, then, once they have all these facts, they can put this together where you can put metal enemies next to big enemies, and then you're going to struggle a little bit. Got him, it's fine. One of the Game Boy Advance Spyro games, that frog, had a level that's a little similar in aesthetic. I can't remember what the level is called. I believe it's Spyro Season of Ice. You can light these little campfires up for fun just to show the power of the Sony PlayStation destructible environment. But I like it. It's very fairy tale-esque, and it's not something you see quite a lot in anything. So, got one of my friends here. I just wish that it came like later in the game, because it is still one of my favorite levels, but it's a very short level. And I'm surprised it's not considered the first level of the game because of how many basics it teaches you and how quick you can go through it. Stone Hill is shorter, but you're also going to do a lot more exploring in Stone Hill. Kill him. And like, look at this. This is gorgeous. I love this. Platformers are making a comeback, and I am here for it. It's a good time to be alive if you like platformers. Kind of a bad time to be alive if you're anything else, because this is the most garbage year ever, and wow. Glad that I get to do some fun though. Darius.
Big enemies like this Nork with the club cannot be charged, but a quick flame, that should defeat them.
So this is more criminal than the one earlier. You have to go through and pass like, I don't know, 6 or 7 of the big guys before you get to this dragon who tells you how to beat them. Even when I was a kid, I figured it out. Like, come on. Did I get? Yeah, I got that up there. Perfect. Which means the last couple gems should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All 100. Alright. That's Dark Hollow complete. I'm gonna put Sparks in the Moon there, that'd be cool. Alright, I'm not gonna put Sparks in the Moon, that's fine. We can return home. I think maybe in the next level, I'll show you what I mean about being able to quit a level and keep all your progress. It's not that important, but it's something. I want to be thorough with my Let's Plays, especially after the travesty that was Super Monkey Ball 2. Alright. So we're going to head back through this hedge maze, which, by the way, is a very fun sort of way to display a level. Get out of here. I don't know if I showed this, but you can chase these little guys around. Like, for a very early platformer, there's a lot of fun that the AI has. Like, the enemies have fun patterns and things they do. It's a very charismatic game. It's surprisingly unstatic for being like the first in the series. A lot of games, when they start, they're pretty static. I know that sounds weird, but like Crash Bandicoot, the enemies are all in like one spot and they just do the same things over and over again, or kind of a stretch, but Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2, where the enemies don't move around, they just sit in one place and wait for you. Got these little thieves taking all their gems and pearls. Go up here, and we're on to the next level, Town Square. Town Square is a lot more obvious in what it's intended to be in terms of being like a sort of European world than Dark Hollow is, which is just sort of a mystical library. But Town Square is actually, you're not gonna guess this, it is any second now. Load time's even a little bit to be desired, but it is what it is. It's Spain! I don't know if that's obvious from this image, I've never been to Spain. And maybe I never will be with how the world's going. Hop up here, break those metal. Down here we have some chickens. That's the fun. You know? He is angry. Hey, this is neat. I've never seen this before. Because normally you don't stop in front of fodder, you just charge right through it for the butterflies. You can see there goes the toasted charred corpses. I love a game where you can still find new things in it, like, no matter how many times you play it. I have played Spyro, like, annually for, like, a decade.
Welcome to Town Square, Spyro. Begin exploring by gliding to that area with the bulls. Use the right stick to get a good look.
Alright there, beanpole. His easel fell. Like, it's such a small detail, but even their fading out animations have character to them. It's so well done. I've never seen his easel fall. That is really funny. Bulls. This is a level that first scared me as a kid and was where I stopped making progress when I was really little. The bulls. Okay, well this one just seems to charge back and forth. You can ram them. Well, they can ram you. If you ram them, their horns become stuck in the ground and you can ignore them. You still get the gem from them as you just saw. If you want, you can burn them. If they die, it's fine. Or you can just straight away burn them. They're a weird enemy. I'm not sure why, other than just the fact that they were floating. They were gloating that they could have an enemy that had multiple hit animations like that. It is a really impressive PlayStation 1 game, considering how early it was. Here we have a gem box. These are neat. They're only in the original. If you flame or hit them, like this, the gem will pop out. The only way to get it, hop over. They're not that profound or difficult to navigate or anything, but they are cool to look at and they make a fun sound, so I do appreciate their presence. We're gonna glide over here. I have one of my awesome, cool friends that I love so much. God, I hate it. Grab a life. Here we have a nice big gap. The first big gap where we can really die, I think so far. It's not that bad. If you press X at the top of your jump, you go farther. I believe that the dragon in Stonehill told us that, but...
Thanks, Spyro. I had the worst itch on the tip of my wing. Did you know that you get your longest glides by pressing the jump button at the very top of your jump?
The jump button? Would you like a slice of cake, Spyro? Like, every single it's such a treat. It makes playing this game really exciting for the sole factor of getting to see all of the redesigns. Oh, here we have these Norks. I didn't acknowledge what was happening there. It hit me. That's fair. They're bullfighting Norks. They're neat. As you can hear, we got one of our little bastard friends up there. We'll come back for him. Honestly, one of my least favorite egg thieves in the game. It's got some chickens screaming at me. This is art. I can't believe I didn't know about this. I love this. This kicks ass. Well, bye. Teach you to scream at me. Alright, grab some. There goes my phone. There are a lot of bulls. Okay, so it's easy. All the bulls have different AI. Some wait for you. Some run around in circles and chase these guys. Which the Norks are really funny. They're one of my favorite mooks in a video game. Hey, you knocked that off. You tried to hit me. So yeah, you can see they just chase. Kill the bull. And go for this guy. Hey! So yeah, the bulls have multiple AIs, which is something that is, you know, genuinely impressive for a very early platformer. Especially a 3D one like this. Go over here, we can talk to Alvar.
Spyro, did you see a man dressed in blue running around here? He's a thief, and he's stolen a dragon egg. You've got to track him down and get that egg. Run, run! I'm getting a little winded.
I don't know when I'm gonna stop saying it, but like, every dragon is just so charismatic, while also keeping the same. Oh, you're back. Well, that's a shame. They keep the same charm that the original had, which is not an easy feat. So this is the first one of these kinds of what I like to call jumps of faith. Leaps of faith, I guess, would be more proper. Especially in Spyro 1, there's a lot of points where you're going to have to glide to a place that you can't see, and it's a little obtuse. It's one thing that I don't really like about the game, especially when I was a kid and I was really bad at making a mental image of an area in my head. That one's not so bad, but there's some ones later on that you pretty much have to know what you're doing to even do. So yeah, this egg thief sucks. Oh, never mind, I got him. And he didn't even get an animation. Oh well. I don't remember if you were able to flame him at that point in the original or not, or if I was just too dumb to realize that you could do that. My last playthrough, I realized that you can flame him when he's jumping down, and that seems to make him a lot easier. It's just so satisfying to run through chickens head first. Yeah, lives are not anything in this game. They're so easy to grind out, even just by accident through navigating a level normally. This is not the easiest. Ooh, it's embarrassing. Yeah, like I was saying, these jumps are not the best gameplay mechanic this game has, and there's some really bad, obtuse jumps, some infamous ones later on in the game, that involve another power that Spyro gets. But for now, we just have to hop up here, run around, grab this treasure, don't want it to sneak away from us. Go over here, and you can see there's this whole track if we glide over this point. Yeah. For some reason I thought that the egg thief came over here, that I might just be misremembering from the original. It probably does the same. These are fun. These are little metal boxes you can't headbutt, and it seems like you can't burn them. But if you flame them enough, they spin faster and faster. Oh. And the metal top launches off and you get the gem. If you're good, you can sort of aim that at enemies and hit them and kill them or break other boxes using the metal fan. And that is a really fun like thing to do. Or it leads to some really cool moments. Alright, last dragon is Thor! Dragon of Thunder.
Thank you for releasing me, Spyro. You can always check your progress by accessing the guidebook through the pause menu.
Thor is just as, like, underwhelmingly pathetic in the original, but he actually just says, "Thank you for releasing me, Spyro." Technically the guidebook is kind of a new feature of the remake. You can still check your progress and levels, but it wasn't considered, a guidebook. I also don't believe you were able to teleport to levels in the original. You were able to do it in the other games. So I think that's a new feature. It's called a guidebook now, which is different. And I guess they wanted the dragons to have more to say than just, "Thank you for releasing me, Spyro." So yeah, this was Stonehill. We're gonna head back home. I know there's one last thing in the, actually there's a couple things in the Artisan World I want to show you still. But one that I'm going to show you before the end of this video now, as we approach the boss of the Artisan's World. And I really love the backgrounds. Spyro 1 did this too. The levels are all set in different points in the day, and the skyboxes are really something pleasant to look at. So, we're going to head back. You know what? No Nork left behind. Get back here. Get back here. I don't know if I've completed a Ring of Life stuff. Lives. See if I can't. Thank you. What? It blinked, and I don't know why it did that. Anyways, that's not important. You know what? Yeah, I'll grind out and show you what it's like to complete it. Even though it's exactly what I've already said. You two should do it. One more. Okay. Well, I know who has enough. That's right. Run. So yeah. Circles around, you get another life. Now we're at lucky 13 lives. I might as well kill him too. Like I said, no Nork left behind. Plow these sheep. Hi, I'm a farmer. I'm gonna plow the sheep crop. Don't mind me. I don't remember if there's a skill point for burning all these flowers, or if they were just added for more things for you to burn. There's a couple things where if you destroy a bunch of things in a level, you'll get extra life for it. It's a neat feature. Also, that blew my mind as a kid when the dragon opens to reveal the boss. That is cool. There is something that can happen. As far as I know, this is the only time. If you talk to a fairy, in the original, there would be a save option because you could save your game manually there. You can replay a dragon, or you can continue. In this specific case, this dragon has two kinds of dialogue he can tell you. The first is what we saw. If you go through and you haven't done another level, he will tell you, if you want to fight the boss, beat a level and come back here. And then the dragon head opens up and you're like, Wowzer, Bowser! Except it's not Bowser, it's Toasty, which could be an alternate name for a ripoff of Bowser. But if you've already done that, and you come and hit the dragon, he will instead be like, this.
Cool flash. Do that again.
The Artisan's boss is through a portal behind me. You can challenge him now, if you feel you are ready.
That's one of those things that I think would have been really easy to mess up as an oversight, where you're just like, yeah, whatever, it doesn't really matter. He's just telling you gotta beat a boss. Or you could have changed the dialogue and not have it be dynamic like that. But I always thought it was neat that he has... I did not know that that closed and opened. Alright, that's getting a little silly. Yeah, I did not know that, that was closing him. God, he's just vaping up a storm. Anyways, as far as I know, that's the only dragon in the game that has two sets of dialogue. I could be wrong about that because I almost never replay the dragons. If I'm wrong and you're watching this and somehow have that knowledge, I'd love to know. I would appreciate that. Hi, Sparks. So yeah, next time when we come back to Spyro the Dragon, we're going to be entering the Toasty world and seeing the first boss of the game. Alright, have a wonderful day. I don't know why I'm saying this like I'm working fast food right now. See you next time. Bye.